The paint bucket tool in SketchUp allows you to apply textures or materials to an object. The paint bucket tool is located right here. And it's going to bring up this dialog box here. Now the PC palette is a little bit different, but I'm going to walk you through some of the ways that you can use the paint bucket. First off, in the top here, you have this color spectrum or color wheel. That's just going to give you a generic color wheel that you can define your own color. If you don't like that, you can use the color sliders. So this is where you can input either a CMYK to match to an RGB value. You have a grayscale slider, and you have a hue, saturation, and brightness slider. Next is this spectrum, and I never can honestly say I've ever used this. Following one is just your simple color crayons that you can select a color from. Again, I rarely use this. The one that I use the most is this textures palette. Since we don't have any textures in our model, we just have this blank blue and white. And that is the default texture in SketchUp. So the white is the outside faces and the blue is the inside faces. And that's why it's showing like that. Now in this drop-down panel here where it says colors in model, SketchUp offers you a variety of textures that are already installed with your program. So in this case, I want to go to wood. And you can see there's a couple wood textures we can choose from. Now, very critical thing when you're applying textures is always make sure you're applying them inside the group so that you're actually touching the face. The reason why I say that is look what happens when we click on this wood floor that we like, say this first one. And if I just click on the hallway here, I'm outside of the group, remember? See how it applies it to every face of that group? Now that's good in some instances, but when you're using SketchUp with other plugins, specifically photorealistic plugins that do ray tracing or plugins that you need to export out your model into whatever application they're in, this is going to have a hard time reading the texture mapping of it. So you want to make sure whenever you're applying textures that you're applying them within the group, actually on the selection. So just go to Edit, Undo, click the Select tool, and now double click on the group. And now take the Select tool again, make this active. You can see the blue square around it. And now I can paste this. Now these textures from SketchUp have a default scale to them. You can actually double click to see what that scale is. So the tiling of this texture is 5 feet by 5 feet. When you double click on the texture, this is the edit material pop-up. On a PC, the interface is more like tabs. So you'll have a tab for edit. Now, if you don't like the textures that SketchUp has to offer, or you have your own textures, you can import those and apply them to the floor. And let's show you that next.